Well, hello YouTube. I'm back with 5 things I want to update y'all on. Today, I'm getting lots of stuff done because we had an ice storm last night and my workplace closed early. I had already left, of course, and this morning was a bit of a shit show because they didn't make the announcement until like I was already kind of at work, and they're reopening at noon. So basically, I only have to go in for 2.5 hours today, even though I was already there and came back. I wish they would just do things differently so that you were aware before, in good time, right? Not like, should I go? Should I not go? I don't know what the fuck's going on. But anyways, I'm getting lots of stuff done today, including this video. So here we go. First up, another book in the Firefly series called Life Signs. This, I believe, takes place between the end of the series and the Serenity movie after Inara has left Firefly and their crew. And it is brought to the crew, or Mal specifically's attention, that the reason Inara left is because she has an incurable form of cancer called Keel's myeloma, something like that. So Mal is told by, I can't remember his name, it's like a French sounding name. He's like a rich kind of suave kind of guy that the crew met up with and had dealings with in some of the earlier books that I had read, and I totally forget his name right now. But anyways, Inara's been at his place kind of under his care because he's rich. He can afford the best medical equipment and stuff like that. So basically Mal and the crew are told this so they can basically say goodbye to her, right? Because it's not going to be long before she's gone. But this fellow also relates to Mal that there was this scientist named Esau Wang who had been working on a cutting-edge treatment that could cure this disease and some other forms of incurable cancer. And so Mal's like, okay, well, where is this guy? And he's like, well, he's imprisoned on the planet of Atata. Now, Atata there's no guards there because basically the planet's a frozen ice ball, so people are just sent down there, and basically it's just you survive. You're on your own, you survive. There's some compounds and stuff that you're sent to, and you just kind of get by. Many people die there because of the conditions, and it's kind of one of those it's a prison where the planet is the prison. There's no infrastructure needed, really. So he's been sent there for apparently some crimes to do with some of his research and stuff like that. So Mal hatches a plan where they're gonna get the Firefly to pose as a drop supply ship on the planet, and they're gonna go put down supplies, and they sneak Mal, Zoe, Simon, and Jane into the compound, and they basically try to infiltrate and act casual, act like they're actually criminals, and infiltrate one of the compounds and find out where Wang is, if he's indeed still alive. But there's lots of complications along the way. There's lots of people that they come up against with resistance within the compound that they infiltrate. So it's just kind of a grind to try and find this guy, and then once they do find him, to get to him and then get him off planet, right, sort of thing. So I'm not going to tell you how it goes. You have to read it for yourself. But Inara's fate is in your hands, so you better read it. Next up, another book, one of the Marvel Legends of Asgard series called The Prisoner of Tartarus. In this book, it's kind of told as a tale. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like a teacher. He teaches combat to the young Asgardian warriors. And this one kid, I think, breaks a weapon or something like that, or steals it, so there's one missing the next day, and the guy kind of knows it's him, so he kind of tells this tale to help give this kid some perspective. I can't remember exactly how it relates, but anyways, the tale is about, once again, Heimdall. At the start of the book, we see Heimdall in Tartarus, serving a sentence, doing a penance. He's basically being tortured for all of eternity in Tartarus, and he has no memory of who he is, what he did, whatever. Soon enough, he's rescued by a little dwarf named Kamor, and as the two make their escape from Tartarus, or plan to make their escape from Tartarus, Kamor relates the events of how Heimdall got to this spot And basically, this book focuses on when the Bifrost Rainbow Bridge was first created to speed travel between the different realms. It was ordered by King Odin, and he charged, I think he's a wizard named Ulbrecht, to oversee the construction of it. And there's dwarves working on it, there's mages working on it, there's a whole bunch of people working on it. And brought to the site is the god of death Pluto and the god of smiths Hephaestus. And Heimdall's the one who's kind of overseeing the whole thing as a whole. And during the construction early on, one of Pluto's Cyclops is murdered, and so Heimdall's looking into who did it. And so there's all this uncertainty between the different factions that are involved that don't normally deal with each other, but it's all a scheme. There's a traitor in the midst, maybe a couple, who are trying to cause chaos during the building of the Bifrost so that they can twist its construction to their own nefarious means. And I don't want to give away too much, because it is kind of one of those, some twists and turns along the way. And I'm not going to tell you who the mastermind behind the evil part is, but it's not a surprise. So anyways, Heimdall has to trek back and find a way out of Tartarus with Camor along the way, trying to regain his memory of who he is and what he's about, and so that he can get back to the Bifrost before it's activated in an evil fashion, right? Because it could spell the end of Asgard if it is allowed to proceed. So it's a race against time, it's a race to get his memory back, it's a race to survive. So pretty good book, a shorter one, but pretty action-packed. Next up, Simpsons, season 17. Finished watching this earlier this week, and 22 episodes. I think this season aired, if I remember correctly, between 2005 2006, across the New Years of those 2 years, and another solid season. Once again, you get another Treehouse of Horror. I found the season started slow. My favorite episodes all came kind of as the season was on the back half. We see Homer and Marge become marriage counselors to a famous athlete and his famous pop singer wife, which Marge and Homer especially as marriage counselors, like, talk about oxymoron, right? We see Homer travel to Italy to pick up a new sports car that Mr. Burns ordered and take along the whole family. And they end up running into Sideshow Bob, who is now living in Italy and has a whole new life. And as soon as he sees Bart, though, bing, right? We're onto it again, even though he pretends to like him at first. What else? A football franchise is supposedly coming to Springfield, but after Grandpa Abe screws it up, and the franchise goes to another city, the whole town hates him, and he ends up becoming a matador as they turn the stadium they built for this supposed football team into a bullfighting kind of setup. So, which of course pisses Lisa off, because she's all about the animals and the planet and all that stuff, right? Also, Homer finds out that he may indeed have a father. His real father is not Grandpa Simpson. And then a whole bunch of other ones too. It's a pretty funny collection of episodes, especially in the back half. It gets pretty ridiculous at times. Oh, there's one where Marge babysits Rod and Todd, and they end up having a really fun time with her. And so Ned gets her to babysit more often as he kind of goes out and does some stuff on his own. And she starts pushing back against Ned's, like, over, he's all concerned about the safety and the boys are going to get hurt and blah, 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 right? So she kind of pushes back against that, and until it comes to a head, and the two kind of butt heads about it. And the other one, the one I really liked, was near the end as well. And they took, I can't remember why, but Darwin's theory of evolution was being questioned. And so they took, at first they had creationism and evolution being taught in the school, and then they just totally removed evolution. It was something to do with a bribe or money and being involved and whatever. So then somebody was being tried, Lisa, I think, about not believing in God and creationism and stuff like that, and she was always spouting evolution even after the schools had taken all that out, and everybody was like, oh, God, creationism, and they were in the courtroom, and the lawyer's like, so you're saying humans are descended from monkeys? And it's like, that's preposterous, right? So they're shooting down evolution, whatever. And then Marge is like, don't worry, Lisa, I got your secret weapon right here in my purse. So what Marge has in her purse in the courtroom is a Duff beer, and she gives it to Homer, but the cap is like is not coming off, right? So he's getting angry. All he wants to do is drink this beer, and he's getting so enraged that he starts doing like monkey behavior. He's like, whoa, 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 trying to get into this beer, and then everybody's like, okay, yeah, maybe humans did come from monkeys, right? So boom, creationism shot down, right? That was probably my favorite episode because I hate religion in all of its forms, and so to see kind of that type of episode showcased with Homer being ape-like in the end, winning the ultimate argument, was just kind of really, really funny. So next up, a video game that I downloaded to my Switch during one of my many binges on the discount page in the eShop. I've always wanted this type of game. I've never really had one since maybe the Wii. And it is a monster truck game called Monster Jam Steel Titans. So in this game, you take control of a monster truck. There's very few you can use at the start of the game, and you can just practice out on the outdoor obstacle course to get used to the truck, and then you can go through, like, I think it's called Monster Jam 101, which is basically like a tutorial that you kind of graduate through each section, different aspects like turning and jumping and whatever, and going up on two wheels. So it gives you kind of tips and some chances to get used to the way that the trucks feel and stuff like that. And as you graduate through this, you earn points, and you can spend these points on upgrades to the different trucks that you have. It takes a long time to upgrade a truck. Like, you don't earn a ton of stuff. You can't just go willy-nilly with the upgrades. So I would suggest make your way through the training, keep all your points, and then once you get into the bulk of the game, maybe pick a truck that you want to make your main truck, try the different ones available, and then just pick your favorite and upgrade it, sort of thing. And then you can, if you earn any after you've got that one fully upgraded, you can maybe put it towards another one that you like. But yeah, they're pretty stingy on the points for the upgrades. But the main mode of the game is you can play multiplayer and stuff like that. But the main mode of the game is basically like a season. So you go from city to city, mostly throughout the States. I think it stops in like Toronto in Canada. And it's basically, you're in these different arenas and you're doing different types of events. So in each city, you'll do like a race, again, in brackets. So you'll face one guy. If you win, you move on. You face the winner of that bracket until there's two guys in the end and the champion in the race. There's a two-wheel trick event where you get a couple chances to go get your beast up on two wheels and do some stunts and earn some points. Really hard. I find going up on two wheels in this game, it's easy enough to do, but you tip over so easily onto your top, and once you do that, you lose that progress and you lose a chance at your two-wheel thing. So it's really easy to crap out in that mode, and that was kind of what ruined this game for me, was that two-wheel mode. And then the other event in that season mode that you'll play in each city is like a freestyle kind of event. So you're just going around the field in the arena and just hitting jumps and doing flips and stuff like that, and just trying to earn as many points as you can in the time that you're given. So the races were actually really hard the further you got in that game. So I found I couldn't really compete in the races. And the two-wheel events just basically ruined it, because if I could have scraped some points out of those, I could have maybe had enough to advance. It was only like the last event, I think, that like you kind of unlock different levels of events as you go along, and I think it was only the last one that I couldn't get, but still, it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, with the two-wheel mode being so hard to pull off. It was basically like a lost chance. You know, everybody else is earning all these points, and you get dick all, and you're just that much further behind in each city you visit, right? So it was kind of hard to even compete when you got late in the game. But overall, a really fun game. It's a good looking game. It controls well. You know, it's nothing top notch or anything, but it's not, you know, half-assed or anything too. It's somewhere in the middle there. It's a really solid game that is pretty fun. Just has a couple little things, like I said, the two-wheel aspect of it being so difficult to pull off. Just a couple things that brought it from being like a really good game to kind of being average good sort of thing, right? So, but it was cheap, so worth the price. Last up, one more game to go. If you watch any of my gameplay footage, you'll know that I spent a ton of time on this game and I had a ton of fun with it. NASCAR Heat 5. So in this game, you have the main mode is like to run seasons. So there's 4 different circuits you can play. There's the lowest dirt track league, then there's the trucks, then there's the Xfinity league, which is like the cars but the step down from the top league, and then there's the top the top league where all the best racers are. So there's those 4 different circuits. You can choose, I think at first you can only start at the dirt and you have to work your way up to unlock each successive circuit. But once you've worked your way up and you reach to the top in NASCAR, then you can continue doing seasons as long as you want, and you can choose to participate in all or just a couple series on any given season, and you just basically run the events in the calendar as they come along in any of the circuits that you choose to race in. And within that, you're able to do 2 different things. You can choose to race for a team and join another team, or you can choose to race on your own team. Now, if you race on somebody else's team, you earn money, but you don't have anything to spend it on. It's only when you race on your own team that you create is when you spend money. So it might be good to race on a team at the start of the game just to earn money and not have to spend it and build it up a bit, and then graduate to racing on your own team, because there's so many different things when you're racing on your own team to purchase and upgrade and stuff like that. So you have to buy a car at the start of your season. Now each car comes with its own specialty. You have speedway, super speedway, road course, or short track. So there's 4 different types of cars that will match up to the type of track that you're racing. If you take a speedway car to a super speedway, it's at a disadvantage. You have points taken off because it's not matching the type of racing you'll be doing. So it's nice to have at least 1 car for every type of track. Now, when you race so many speedways in a row, because there's so many speedways in a season, your car takes damage in a race and goes down. You can only repair it so much. So it may not be totally healthy during your next speedway race. So it's at a bit of a disadvantage. So sometimes, especially speedway cars, you want to have a second speedway car. So you can buy up to, I think, 6 cars per team sort of thing. So I usually had 2 speedway cars, 2 short track cars, and then a road course and a super speedway car, because those don't come along too often. So, but short track and speedways are pretty plentiful, and oftentimes they're back to back. So, you know, you got to buy up to 6 cars, and they get more expensive the higher the circuit you go, and the more cars you buy within your team, they get a little more expensive with each car. So you need a lot of money for that. You can also upgrade your departments. So you have 3 different departments. You have engine, aerodynamics, and suspension. So they start at 75. You can upgrade them by 5 points each time up to 100. So you spend money on upgrading your departments, which just increases the overall rating of your car from 75 up to 100 sort of thing. And then you got to hire employees, and then they come in the same 3 categories: engine, aerodynamics, suspension. And then between races, you put them on a car to fix it and repair it and get it up to speed for the next race. But you don't just have to hire the employees, you have to train them, because they come at the lowest level or lower level, and you have to train them up to 100 if you want the best performance out of them when they're fixing your car between races, right? So there's so many things to spend money on. And I played so many seasons on this game, and eventually, you know, owned a team on all 4 circuits and had them all totally maxed out with employees, cars, everything sort of thing. So it really sucks you in that way. And it's for just racing around the track over and over and over again the same time each season, that aspect of it really draws you in and wants you to keep going. It's, oh, I want to max out this team, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like it keeps it fresh, it doesn't get stale. And so I just kept going until I had all 4 teams maxed out. I'd won the championship on all 4 circuits, and I was like, finally I can retire, right? So but that's the main mode. And they do have, you can do multiplayer. I think there's a split screen mode, I can't remember. I think me and James played a split screen. And then of course there's online multiplayer. And then there's another mode called challenges, which gives you certain scenarios that happen in real life within a race. And you have the opportunity to either, you're put in a driver's shoes during that moment, and you either like maintain what happened, or you try and alter the course of it with like another driver sort of thing. So, and if you pass the scenario they give you, then you've completed that challenge sort of thing. All right, so some of them are tricky, some of them are easy. I maybe completed about half of them, give or take. So but just a little something extra to keep the game going. But overall, the game is really good. It looks fantastic. It controls great. It's got a good soundtrack. It's bright, it's colorful, it's beautiful. Everything about this game is amazing. The only thing I didn't like was, I love in NASCAR games wiping other cars out and causing big crashes. Let's all be honest. A lot of times you watch NASCAR because you love seeing the collisions and the chaos of it, right? Other games that I've played in the NASCAR series, older games, when Electronic Arts used to do it, causing crashes was really easy. Oftentimes it set you back, but it was still a lot of fun, right? In this game, it is so hard to get into somebody and cause anything more than like a minor disturbance. It's really hard to cause crashes. So if there's any one thing I could pick on about this game, is that they should, even if they had like an option in the settings to go easy crash, yes, turn that on, or more realistic, like what they have now, keep that mode on, right? Because to be honest, when I've been playing NASCAR games in the past, I love causing shit. I love the chaos of it all. I love trying to get through the wreck. I love everything about it. So this game was lacking that, and I think if they added that, at least that option, this game would be damn well near perfect for a NASCAR game. So just my 2 cents though. And I do eventually have to go to work today, so I'm going to sign off right now before I just keep babbling. So until next time, stay warm. Meow.